today I'd like to now talk about the historic period of Three Kingdoms. Three Kingdoms is not, there were originally sort of four entities, and then Kaya Federation quickly divided or observed by Silla and Baekje, so that eventually we just call this period as Three Kingdoms period. So I am going to give you a lecture of Three Kingdoms period, and then we are going to watch some more in-depth analysis of the tombs of Goguryeo and also Silla. So let me go into the slide. So as you understood, there was the period of proto-kingdom called Gojoseon. So Gojoseon is slightly mentioned or insinuated in Chinese documents, but in historical records, the first Korean historic dynasties are these Three Kingdoms and Kaya Federation. Kaya, we just saw the Kaya Federation, and then eventually Three Kingdoms were united by unified Silla. Like out of three, it's going to be Silla, which unified the entire peninsula. So today we are going to talk about briefly from the 3rd, 4th century CE, like a common era CE, to about 5th century CE. During the Three Kingdoms period, a most important event is the introduction of Buddhism. So introduction of Buddhism is very important moment for Three Kingdoms to develop into a mature kingdom with good political organization. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So Three Kingdoms are, Silla was the first established, and then Goguryeo, and then the Baekje, if you see the chronological order. And where did they get eventually Buddhism? Through Central Asia, somewhere in Dunhuang, here Central Asia, through China, and then eventually it came to Goguryeo and Silla and Baekje. And then Buddhism was then introduced from Three Kingdoms to Japan, Asuka period. So we talked about this. Ethnically, Korean and Japanese are related in language, like linguistic groups. And then Chinese is a separate linguistic group, but Mongolia, Korean, Japanese, and if you go all the way up, all the way in Scandinavian country, Hungarian and Finnish. Somehow, Hungarian and then Finnish also belong to the same group. Anthropologists hypothesize that there was a common group of people, and then they spread to Scandinavia and a little bit to Central Europe, and then they migrated further through the Siberia and went to the Korean peninsula. So this is the map, spread of Buddhism, but we can see there was a overland path in nomads, somehow connecting ancient groups. This is objects from the prehistoric period of Korea. So these bronze mirrors are dated to 300 BCE. So basically, Three Kingdoms are continuation of these shamanic entities. And in terms of artistic heritage, we want to see Goguryeo first, and then we are going to move to Silla, and then Kaya is in ceramic work, and then Baekje is also a thriving civilization. There are a lot of new discoveries, so I'm going to share a reading on Baekje's civilization in the unit. So in Korea, there are two Romanization styles. So the one with K or P, these are older systems. If you read more recent Romanization styles in timeline of our history at the Metropolitan Museum, you may see that they are more closer to pronunciation. It's pronounced as 고구려, like a soft, like a G sound, as opposed to K. Or this is pronounced as a 백제, so they now tend to change it to B as opposed to P sound. So Three Kingdom composition. Which country is the largest? As you can see, yeah, Goguryeo is the largest. Actually, they had a large Manchuria as part of their territories. But eventually, Shilla is going to be really strong. And then Baekje is going to lose a lot of territories. So that Baekje kings and aristocratic families may migrate to Kyushu Island in Japan. So Goguryeo people in Chinese historical records are known for their horsemanship. They are great archers. They can shoot these kind of ferocious animals like tigers and deers and stags. They can shoot arrows on running horses. So based on this type of information and also their dress types, people hypothesize that the royal family of Goguryeo could have come from the nomadic groups in Siberia. They are good at hunting rather than on agricultural activities. And this is like a, it's not really a taekwondo. What he's showing is more like a martial arts division that comes from the Goguryeo period. And then these days, people say that why these taekwondo or martial arts clothes have this band, colorful band, and they relate it to the wall painting of Goguryeo. We will study this. It's a hunting scene in Muyongchong, like a dancer's tomb that we are going to see. Okay, hold on. Let me go back to. So predominantly from the tombs of Three Kingdoms, we get many gold ornaments like this. And we have some ceramics, daily vessels, but most of the archaeological findings from Three Kingdoms are related to funerary contexts. So it was customary that aristocratic families as well as royal families constructed colossal tombs for themselves. So tomb structure changes. Sometimes it's a stone chamber. Sometimes it's just a ceramic urn with ashes. And for those transitions, we have reasons for changes, and they are related to religious philosophical background. So during Three Kingdoms period in Korean Peninsula, China was also divided. China was going through Three Kingdoms and 6 dynasties. That is after the fall of Han Dynasty. Han Dynasty was equivalent to Gojoseon. If you remember the legend of Dangun and then his descendants. So during Han Dynasty, in the Korean Peninsula, we have something equivalent to Gojoseon. But then Han Dynasty collapsed around 220. So China first had 3 kingdoms, and then this was further divided into 6 dynasties, especially in the north. It was occupied by nomadic tribes, not traditional Han ethnic groups, nomadic tribes. And then Chinese people were pushed down to below Yangtze River, like a Liang represents the remaining ruling class from these 3 kingdoms period. So when China was divided like this all the way until the 6th century, it was a good timing for Korean Peninsula because China was busy handling their own conflicts, historical conflicts, so that they didn't pay too much attention to Korean Peninsula. Or sometimes people in Diang, they wanted to be united with Baekje, for example, or Goguryeo, so that they can resist or put pressure on Northern Wei. So they were political allies. But sometimes Northern Wei will approach Goguryeo and say, can we be political allies? Then you have a lot of advantages. So it was a good timing when the Chinese power was divided.